Okay. I'm sending it right now.
Send
It's
this thing.
being sent. The gang, Curiosity, we've returned to the walls of Solnar, relative safety. You guys walk through the upper ward to the because it's actually you walk through the grand court to the upper ward. Relatively calm day. You know, there's a new guard holding the gate. You guys probably passed a scouting party on your way back in. Probably about like 10 to a dozen mounted guardsmen. Like half a dozen of them in heavy plate mail, like full knights. Essentially, like you don't see their faces. They have helmets on, couple like rangers, couple clothies, which you assume to be like mages, wizards, sorcerers, somebody. And they like full gallop down the old King's Road past you. They were told that a group of adventurers like you, and I'm sure based on the what you were told, you guys kind of just like hopped off the side of the road, let them ride at full tilt past you. But other than that, it was very, very calm return back to Solnar. You have an orb. Who's holding it? Who has that orb? Who's in possession? You did you tossed it in your bag of holding though,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Have you ever pulled it back out?
I don't think I have, no.
Okay. Then we continue on. You guys return to Solnar, and what would you guys like to do? It's we'll call it midday, start of the day, start of the day's adventures. I'm gonna actually move you. You guys are more like right here. If I'm gonna have you start there, you guys like just came back through the gates. What would you like to do?
Eddie has two goals here. First of all, he wants to get some nice enchanted leather armor to beef up his AC so he doesn't get speared through the neck again. So that's thing one. And thing two is teaching more lessons to the parrot. Teaching the parrot more tricks.
I feel like we can just keep that one as sort of like the sidebar of all sidebars.
Always happening.
Yeah. Like when you actually have downtime, we can circle back to the parrot.
Well, we have to go to the magic shop anyway, yes. So I think Trusk was wanting some armor as well.
Yes.
Yeah, Trusk, who is silent, almost zombie-like, just deep in thought.
He's tired.
Very tired. Valentine, would you like this orb?
Oh, yes, I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Should I pull it out in the street here, or should we wait till we get inside the...
I don't know if it matters.
Supposedly a very powerful artifact or something.
Do whatever you think is best.
I'll wait till we're inside the shop at least.
Yeah, Craig, you have... I'm only summoning you to see your art a bit like easier. Those are like full gauntlets, right? Like leather gloves and gauntlets, essentially.
Yeah. And my arms are wrapped in like mummy wraps underneath it. Yeah.
Cool. But you're keeping it.
Once we get inside the magic shop, I will pull it out and hand it to Valentar.
Okay. Easy enough. You do your travels through the city. At this point, I mean, specifically, Narvos is a whiz at getting through the city, but you guys are up. I think it's close to a month and a half, as we've done several sort of like time, just like periods of downtime as you've waited for different events to occur, and like requests to go out. It's a planned city, so unlike it looks really hectic here. I just can't change that with the city designer. It's pretty easy to go from.
It is grids.
It is grids, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a planned city. Like the 5 houses came. It wasn't like this center part was here first, and then people came. No, like these guys landed and built walls and built settlements within the walls. The walls came first. You guys make it all the way back to the trade district. In the trade district, once again, a bustling mercantile life, the smell of various cultures, foods, cooking. The goblins run off to get some food. There's like a little goblinoid tent has been pulled up and it's got like frog legs, and very much like the stuff that Baby Yoda would eat, just various places, and that's
genetic
goblin.
hope.
Huh?
Genetic hope.
Okay. You guys make it back to Arcane Minded. A really, really on the inside, a very multi-tiered, I believe it's 2 to 3 tiers, like wizard shop with a bunch of like baubles and stuff lining the shelves. The floor where Iknath is, which is the second floor, just like essentially a library or a bookstore. Lots of books. Some of them are chained to the wall. That type beat.
Those are the good books.
It's all lit with like crystal lighting, as much of Solnar's lighting seems to be these instead of flames or continual flames, enchanted rocks or crystals attached to torch sconces. And you guys return. How would you like to approach? Cindy sees you as you walk in and like quickly comes out behind the counter and runs up to you guys.
I assume Conversion's leading. Behind him, I'll hand the orb to Balantar.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Cindy.
Hi. Are you guys? Was it a successful journey? You all
It
came.
was.
You all made it back.
Yes.
Oh well. I'll see if he's busy. Balantar. What are you wearing on your hands, buddy?
He has half plate, but I don't know that like half plate doesn't necessarily have gauntlets at all. So probably nothing.
Okay. A whispered voice whispers in your ear as you come into contact with the thing. The orb itself, which is like a greenish, like off, like a muted green. It's like green, but with like fog, like a grayish fog. And Craig, with your stupid high everything, you see an eye flash on the orb. In like the mist of the orb as it sort of like the mist rolls within the orb.
My eyes go wide, but I don't say anything.
And you hear in your head Balantar of like, power. You lack power. What do you do? Like in that moment.
Well, I know about magic stuff, but I've not really experienced them. He probably just gives like a weird look at it, looks down at it, like almost like wincing. But then just kind of like lets that fade and hands it up to Cindy.
Okay. So like as you hand it off to Cindy, and Cindy gratefully takes it from you, in your head is this like weird fading scream. It goes, nah! And then it's cut off as it leaves your hands and goes into Cindy's. And Cindy, all of you can see like flinches as she takes it, and then quickly pulls up her like apron and wraps it in her apron and goes, well, something powerful lives in there. I will take it right up to Icknath immediately. Why don't you guys browse down here, and he'll be down with you when he can. And she quickly runs up. And like, Craig, you've gotten your insight increase, right?
Yeah, so my insight's plus 12.
Yeah.
And my perception answer rep.
So you can tell that like Indy's concerned about what just happened and is just sort of like putting on the retail face, customer service face.
Yeah, I'm very concerned about everything that just happened, but I feel like it's a discussion to have in private, so I'm not going to say anything.
Valentar would have also, I realized, been holding his breath and then didn't even notice. And when he like let go of it and the sound stopped and everything, he actually exhaled and took in a deep breath really, really quick. So if that was any indication too.
So Cindy goes upstairs. You guys sort of, it takes a solid like 15, 20 minutes before Icknath comes down.
Do they have some armor that Eddie needs?
On display? Sure. We've got like sort of in the back of the place is like almost like a little armory where Rags like he's constantly putting out things. And it's just sort of like accruing there until Arcane Minded becomes a more well-known sort of like armory area. So there's a leather that is a like elven kind, leather armor of elven kind. There was a comment last week about mithril. Somebody mentioned it. Somebody mentioned wanting mithril. That is more of like a special order thing. You'd need to like order the ore or ingots. They don't like make, and he's also an orc, so that also might be an issue.
I think we put him in full plate.
Put him in full plate.
It will be hard for Eddie to grapple people in full plate.
No,
is what I'm
Eddie,
thinking.
you get the leather. So I'm talking for Trusk.
Yeah, I was also talking about Eddie. I kind of forgot about Trusk. Sorry.
Trusk is relevant.
Yeah, you can just buy full plate, which is 1,500 gold. Any sort of like enchanted full plate, that's sort of like too expensive and too niche, and most full plates go to the
army.
Yeah, city guard.
Yeah.
So like there aren't any enchanted full plates just kicking around because like all of the enchanted full plates Urag's made has been sort of like special ordered by various noble families, as like they're really the only ones.
Enchanted breastplate?
Yeah, you can find it.
Let's get a +1 breastplate for Trusk.
Sure.
I mean, I have a +1 half plate, and I am looking to get that changed out to a breastplate.
Oh, okay. Do you think they'd have two? Or maybe one's not +1, one's like resistance or something.
Yeah, I think one of them would be resistance. As like I said, this place is not like known for their armory yet. Like he's only been here for like 2 to 3 months. Like the enchanted forge, the arcane forge was an addition like half a year ago for Arcane Minded. So let's say that for Eddie, let me pull up what armors there are.
Leather, leather armor +2. Just easy, simple.
Why don't you go for studded if that's the case, Eddie?
Studded leather.
Well, I guess that would work fine too.
Yeah, studded's.
You can find a studded plus +2s aren't here. They're not like +2s. You have to go in and talk to Urag and be like, "Hey, here's some studded leather or leather. Enchant it +2, please." But you can find a +1 studded leather. There's tons of those because the to be honest, most of the leathers not used. It's really easy to find like pliable leathers. A lot of like the rangers are trained and like have their leathers from their training, and are not really one to change them. So if you want a studded leather +1,
well, Eddie's wearing studded leather right now, so
increase your thing by 1. Increase your AC by a single.
Oh, well, I could get the +2 if I just went in and talked to him.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That's more time though.
It might take some time, but
yeah, he's not. This isn't a video game. He can't. He's not just like tink, tink, tink. Here you go.
I know it will take a bit longer, but I imagine it will take a lot less time than forging new armor out of materials,
we're
right?
not going anywhere anytime soon, Eddie. So I think it'd be all right.
All right, then. Then that's what Eddie's gonna do. He's gonna go. He's gonna talk to Urag. He's gonna say, "Hey, this chain weapon you made for me, it was incredible when I used it. Thank you very much. The only issue I had, unrelated to the chain thing, was I was stabbed through the neck while I was out there, and I don't want to do that again. So could you enchant my armor to beef up my defense a bit?" Is what I'm going to ask.
Does it leather armor not really cover the neck?
It does. Yeah, this isn't like if I stab you in the neck. Yeah, if I stab you in the neck again, you're gonna get stabbed in the neck, and like that's what Urag tells you as well. Of like, I can make your armor better. I can make it so it's like tougher. But like if somebody with precision goes for your neck, nothing in this armor is going to save you.
+2 studded leather, not a +2 turtleneck.
Generally the same for most armors.
If I go get you a turtle right now, Urag, can you make this a turtleneck armor?
You're gonna have to. You're gonna, if you want a turtleneck studded leather, you're gonna have to go to a leather worker, a tanner, and
then bring it to him to enchant.
Well,
more time.
I think the real question Eddie's having is how many turtles will this require?
You'd have to talk to the tanner.
Gotcha. No, I think just +2 on the studded leather is fine.
Okay. Let me look up enchanting.
You could get yourself a mask similar to mine. It covers my neck. See?
Maybe a mask is the way to go because Eddie does do some interrogating. A mask might be helpful there.
Right.
Maybe there's some mask that increases intimidation checks or something.
Or like one of those. They used to make them when I was a kid for people to go out and scare people with. I forget what they're called.
One second, sorry. Keep talking amongst yourselves if you can.
Stole my armor from a drow. We killed it.
It's true.
You weren't there.
Put a mask idea in the chat.
Oh. Oh. If you join our Patreon, you could see what chat put in the chat here. It's real good.
We just
studded leather is. Oh, I see what I mean.
Is that not intimidating enough?
I'm intimidated.
Are you not intimidated? I stroke. Ooh.
Are you not intimidated?
So +2 is going to cost you 25,000 gold.
Yeah.
All right.
As it's not, he doesn't know how to do it very well. It's a new enchantment. It's actually like he knows how to do +1s. That's what he's been sort of like working on and putting out, and he's starting to like consistently put out +1s. So +2s are like you're asking him when he's just starting to feel good about doing step 1 to start to do for a job step 2.
Mhm.
It's going to
think-
take him a while.
But I'm sure he's grateful for the opportunity to try a new thing.
He's very concerned about taking on a requisition about it. But
Mhm.
like your group has been very good patrons, and so he's reticent to say no.
Mhm.
I think it's a bit much. No offense.
And like also he is going to be like, I've got +1 studded leathers out there. I've done like 2 of them so far. You're
Wear
more
two
than
at the same
welcome.
time. That'll work, right?
You could also talk to Cindy about maybe getting a ring or an amulet or a
Yes.
cape.
We could get the +1 and a ring. It would be far less money than the +2, and
Yes,
do
true.
the same thing.
You're paying mostly from my time, as I would essentially be focused on this for the better part of a month and a half.
Month to make this.
Yes, it's a very
Oh,
rare
goodness.
+2 is a very rare item. I don't think any of your friends are wearing +2s.
I'm not even a +1. It's just necrotic.
I'd like to compare.
That arm even
I
matches.
thought this might take like 3 days or something.
No.
Are we? I don't think.
No, and like even if it wasn't his first time, this would be a month. Like this is like you +2. Just so you know, as David, a +2 armor is a very rare magic item, which is like comparable to like every like of the high end items you guys have, minus the Vorpal sword and Clarny's hammer. Those are like the 2 legendary items you guys have. Yeah, it's like the highest tier you can get, other than like the god
Three?
item.
It's like exponentially.
Yeah, +3s are all like Solnar is wearing a +3 armor or comparable.
Mhm.
Your William is wearing a +3 robe of the Archmagi.
Okay.
Tight.
So this thing is some crazy equipment here.
And like he has an arcane forge. He technically will one day be the guy who maybe in half a month, like when this guy is like the blacksmith of Solnar in 50 years, he'll be like crunching those out for the city. Right now, you've like found this. Craig can kind of tell. Craig, you were talking, so I assume you're in there with
Yeah.
Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell this is like with your perception, insight, and investigation. This dude's been living here for less than half a year. The place is still not lived in. He's sweating bullets. And you can tell by like some of the scars on his arms that he was probably either sold to Ichnath in some way, shape, or form, or saved by Ichnath in some way, shape, or form. And like he is learning a new life. He probably was just a normal blacksmith before. And Ichnath was like, here's the best forge you will ever see. Learn how to use it.
He's overwhelmed.
Yeah.
All right, Eddie. This is what Eddie's gonna do. Eddie's gonna put a hand on this guy's shoulder And he says, "You know what? I think a +2 leather armor is the best choice for me right now, and I am more than happy to pay for the time required for you to learn this skill. As I'm sure you're going to be an amazing blacksmith here in a few years. I hope a couple years down the road, once you've learned a lot more skills here, maybe I can see some sort of price for trade kind of deal as a frequent customer and adventurer."
Greg's
Well,
just rubbing his brow.
I'm also somewhat confused.
Can I go to
Basically,
conversion?
What I'm
Yeah,
saying
it's
is I'm happy to overpay
like
a little bit
rules.
here. We want to be good customers to you. So maybe in the future you'll throw a few discounts on.
Well, so 25 grand.
We have 5,000 platinum. Is that right,
Yeah.
Carl?
Yeah, so that's half
Yeah.
of your money.
Half
Yeah,
our money.
That's half your
Oh,
money.
David.
jeez.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was about to go
okay,
ask
so that
conversion how much money we
25,000's
had.
a lot.
Yeah.
20. And fun facts, so Craig's actually not very good with money. You guys none of you really have good use of money. Maybe conversion, but he's actually lowballing it. He's actually giving you a discount in his head because he doesn't want to say no. I, as Sean, last time you guys had a shopping trip, heavily lowballed everything, and this time looked up actual prices. I think Iknath came to Urag and Cindy and was like, "Hey,
do you guys know how much stuff's worth?
How much did you sell that stuff for?" And probably just sort of behind the scenes, you guys curiosity wouldn't know this. Arcane Minded doesn't see a lot of customers. It's more of Iknath's library.
Yeah.
And some of the noble houses come here and have Iknath look at things, ponder their orbs.
You said it's been years since an adventuring party's been in the city, really.
Exactly.
So
the only adventuring parties, quote unquote, are state funded. So Cindy and Urag definitely were like, "This is the most money I've ever heard of, ever. Pay that." And now they have a better understanding of their what they're working with. So yes, but like I said, David, he's been working with studded leathers, as it is. Studded leather is what rangers want, rogues want, light fighters want. There are several different types. There's a +1 out there. There is a cold resistance, acid resistance, and necrotic resistance studded leather as well.
Can I go pick up a ring of
There's
protection?
3 of them. Yes, and you can pick up a ring of protection.
How much is that? I'll grab it from Cindy.
I believe 500 gold pieces. Let me check. It's actually 1,000 for you guys. 1,000.
Okay, that's fine.
For you guys, 1,000.
Oh wait, for you guys, it's more.
No, it's actually supposed to be more than that, but for you guys, 1,000. I thought it was an uncommon. They are rare items, not uncommon, but they are. Those are they have 2 and they aren't made. They were obviously one of them still has the blood of its previous owner on it, and you take the other one.
Okay, so I grabbed that. I'm down to 250 gold personally, so now our money is between Eddie and conversion, I think.
I'll just take the +1 studded leather.
Okay, and that is also a rare, so that is also 1,000 gold.
How much would a +1 breastplate be? I mean, I think at this point, then, since the full plate's so rare, I would give my half plate to.
Do you just have a normal half plate?
No, it's +1.
Okay.
So I was thinking probably giving it.
Yeah, we'll do a trade.
Pass that to Trust, and I get a +1 breastplate.
Yeah, we'll do a trade.
Yeah,
that's easy enough.
If we're getting items, what Is it okay to do a +1 shield? I just feel that it'd be better if I wasn't hit as much.
Probably.
Makes a good argument.
Yes.
Thank you.
He has not made any shields as I've never really mentioned what like the people of Solnar use. There aren't actually a lot of shields. A lot of great swords, a lot of mauls, a lot of like two-handed hammers. You haven't seen a lot of axes. Haven't seen a lot of shields.
Do you have a magic shield at all then?
Oh, Iknath has one. I have not been able to recreate the enchantment on it yet, so it's pretty costly. It is.
Oh no! No, thank you.
Yeah, a defender shield or an animated shield are both like things that Iknath has said he wants Urag to attempt to recreate, and are way above his pay grade right now.
Yeah, we don't want to take anything from him that he could use.
Yeah, so like all of the enchantments he has not figured out yet that are like in Iknath's shop have an up price even for you guys, because like Urag's attempting to kind of like Spell Scrolls is attempting to deconstruct them so that he can create more of them. Right. They do have a couple brooches of missile shielding, which isn't necessarily what you were asking for, but what like Cindy brings to your attention when she comes back down and sees you guys shopping. Brooches of missile shielding are resistance to force damage and immunity to magic missiles.
It's really good. Oh, I gave you that ring, Eddie. I just handed it to you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Ring of Protection. It's attunement, but +1 AC, +1 to all saving throws.
Mm-hmm.
Is there? There's a limit of attuned items, isn't there?
3.
Yeah, I'm at 3 right now.
With what? What do you have attuned?
Delta Fire Giant Strength.
Yeah, that's an important one.
Eddie's Miracle Whip.
Why is the whip attuned? Did I just say it was so powerful it needed attunement?
Well, I guess it doesn't need to be attuned then.
I don't think most weapons are attuned. Only if they're cursed, really. Cursed weapons usually require.
Great. Then that's gonna be it for attuned items on Eddie then. Thanks.
I want to pull conversion aside.
Did I'm sorry, real quick.
I'm still kind of like just looking around. Not really that interested in buying anything. It's like I already get a sense he's already got what he wants.
Eddie, did your rope require attunement? The rope.
I don't think
so. The rope of entanglement.
Okay.
I don't think it is.
Because that would be the only reason he required attunement. And at least I think. Anyways, please continue.
Captain?
Yes.
I reach in my bag and pull out the manual of Stone Golem. Do you think we'll ever even really have the time to use this?
How long would it take to actually use that?
Something like almost 200 days.
Yeah.
120
like
to 180 days.
Year of study, just to produce one, and then time more after that.
And then you'd have a stone golem following you around.
I don't see us staying in one location particularly long, except perhaps like here where we're go out and do jobs
right.
for people.
But we wouldn't have time to. Here,
yes,
you take it. I think we could either sell it or offer it as a gift to Iknath or someone else we want to get on our side more.
Okay.
Either way, it's yours now.
Thank you.
No problem.
Right. So Iknath sort of like floats his way down. The orb not in sight with like a big smile on his face, and he goes, "Ah, wonderful! You all returned. I have seen that you have brought the package. Very good. Very good. This is a great first step in our partnership. I couldn't be any more pleased. Valentar, thank you. Thank you for bringing these group of people before me. Soon, I'm sure of it, you will find yourself at the academy, learning to your heart's desire."
He's just nodding. He has his hands clasped together. He's listening intently.
Wonderful. Now, to business. I do believe I don't, as Sean, I don't remember what I promised you, to be honest. Does anybody remember what I promised you? I think it was just sort of like his gratitude.
It was.
But
This was a mission for Balantar, but he said he could offer us more to get more orbs in the future.
mm-hmm. That's what I thought. I thought it was just a gratitude and respect mission, but I couldn't remember if I had promised you guys anything. So I figured if I had, one of you would be like, no, pay up, old man.
I
No, I
mean,
think it was-
hey, if he forgot and decided to
No.
pay us, I don't think we complain.
No, he's definitely like, so to business now, my trusted friends. And like with a wave of his hand, he conjures a map of not Solnar. I guess I don't know what the continent's called.
Mm-hmm.
But the map of the continent, much better topographized. Topogradized? I don't know. Like an actual topographical map of the continent. I guess it's called the Stormlands. So you guys are in Solnar. Shrink that. Around the map here, let me kind of make it components, marbles. So there is one up on that island. You've gotten the green one, red. There's one far side of the Barony of Flesh. Another one, more like somewhere in the north. We'll say right there. It's somewhere up there. There's one in the center of Shelter Town. There's one in the water there. There's one in this lake. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's good enough for now. I know where the other ones are, but I'm unsure if Iknath does. So on the map are several marked locations in different colors with orbs. There was, I'll put the green down. So that's where it was. The green one was right there. And he waves his arms at it and he goes, gather round, gather round. This is where I believe there are orbs of power located. They're scattered throughout the continent. I know from the history books, from those texts that I've read, that 12 arcane focuses were used in the calamity that created the storm. Some were scattered when the spell ruptured. Some have been taken from their resting places by various factions of the continent. I assume one probably rests in Fleshberg itself, though I have never been able to get any sort of spy or reliable information of an orb influencing the city of Flesh. I also assume that possibly an orb or two may have found themselves on many of the outlying islands or back west in the sort of like destroyed land bridge islands that you crossed to get here. Possibly there might be one on the Isle of the Sanctuary of the Black Spot.
Is this something you've heard of, Balantar?
I'm kind of new to this, continent, and I didn't really have a lot of books to look at from, where I grew up.
Well, that's where he's from, right?
The Sanctuary of the Black Spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you
So
live.
can he have like a history check or something for?
Sure, yeah. Yeah. Of any weird things?
Uh, 22.
You don't think that anything particularly odd happens on the Sanctuary of the Black Spot, but you also really your first interaction with a society outside of it is Solnar. So, like, unless the orb makes people particularly greedy and cutthroat, if it's on that island, it's well warded. You know?
Valentine would just say, I don't know, do you think there's an orb that makes people stupid?
Ignath raises his eyebrows and goes, there might be. They have varied effects. I know the one in the bay in that's he points to this one right here. I know that one has created a very xenophobic isolationist mindset of the mer people that live in that bay. They usually don't let any non merfolk into that area. They kill them on sight. But they previously, before the Calamity records show, they were a peace-loving trade peoples that used corals and seashells to make dyes and many different aquatic enchantments. Now they guard zealotly. So they do have effects on people's minds. Some of them purely affect the area around them. I believe the one in the center of Sheltertown is the main reason Sheltertown remains standing amongst the gale of wind and rain that batters all around it, creating the eye that shelters it.
So not all of the effects are negative.
No, but I'm sure the one in Sheltertown is heavily guarded while also heavily warded. I'm unclear of the effects. Truth be told, I believe that the one in Sheltertown might give the man who possesses it an extremely long life, as I have never once heard of a replacement in my entire life, especially since I've begun my research as a young man into these orbs. The ruler of Sheltertown has remained the same my entire life. And reports has it he hasn't even got gray in his beard.
Interesting.
But this is the map that I've. Do you have any information? Have any of your rumors? Possibly, William. I know you've spoken of your events back west. Do you think William perhaps holds an orb?
Let me think about it. What do you want me to roll for that?
What's a connect the dots check?
Insight?
I think I want it to be intelligence based.
Nature.
I think it's got to be Arcana, dude.
Can I make a bid for nature again? Okay.
It's got to be Arcana.
Okay.
Nature, all or nothing.
Hey,
I think it's arcane focuses.
I know magic, and I rolled 16 on the dice, so that's 17.
17. If William holds one of these orbs, then it has to be. You know what? Give me a history check, actually. So while I finish telling you this, if William has one of those orbs, it has to be necromancy based.
Yeah.
Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like if he has an orb, it either has the power to raise dead, it has the power to control dead, it has some necromantic power. Give me a history check.
I got an 8, but I will say I never saw William before I was a zombie. So if I know anything about him, it would be zombie
It would
me,
be-
and I have no idea. You
No,
know?
it would have been William was a 20 some odd year old man when he rose and started the war. With an 8, all I'm going to give you is that you know William as one of the multitude when the Rumagarian king, King Jacob I, started branching out and attempting to create trade envoys. You know William as one of the many ambassadors that were created to attempt to go to distant lands and make contact with various nations to create trade with.
And we learned William came here, didn't we? I think we already learned that.
I
think he's the one that set up trade with Solnar.
No, King Jacob was the one.
Jacob did, and William took the credit for it. Is what happened. Yeah,
that was you. I remember you quote unquote complaining, griping that William stole the credit of the great King Jacob. Yes, that is what happened. That is what you're thinking. But you remember, you do not know where William was the ambassador to. But you do remember that William was one of the about a dozen or more from the Rumagarian Academy that was stationed across the globe. Some went to, the Goblins. Some went up to, what's that kobold place that Tim Toothy comes from?
The Kobold Kiln.
The Kobold Kiln. One of them went to Arrowknee,
Yeah. So William was a part of an ambassador program at the school, but I mean, he was able to grow more powerful than anyone else, with access to the same things, presumably. So it checks out in my mind. I wouldn't doubt it.
Icknath nods and sort of like takes it and goes, there's a baron and the baronies. He has a lot of the same powers as your adversary William does across the sea. It might be something for you to look into in your travels. I don't think he currently is the ascended power over there, though.
That's good.
Currently, I believe it is a bloody fellow who just murders wantonly. I haven't gotten his name. That hasn't really traveled. We've just gotten reports in the recent months that the land between Sheltertown and the barony has become particularly uninhabitable. Roaming bands of meat grinder machines and whatnot roam that area currently.
Some ancient evil calls to me from a book. Would you like to look at it?
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hand him the book.
And he opens the book, flits through a couple pages, and he looks back up at you and goes, "These pages are empty. It's an empty book."
Are they empty for me? I look over.
You look at them. They are not. They are filled with the words that you have read and written back occasionally.
Not empty. Maybe it's just me, zombie brain.
Well, give me a moment. And you see he casts a spell, frowns at it, and goes, "This book is either shrouded in great magics, or you're going mad, my friend." As just tells me, my identify spell says it's just a book. I could attempt to dispel any magic that's on it if you would like me to.
I feel it may help in the future.
Well, that is your decision then.
Thank you for looking at it.
No problem. No problem. If it keeps writing to you and you get concerned about it, please bring it back and I will do my best to break whatever enchantment hides itself from me. As I don't think you're lying, I just don't see what you see.
Yes.
Well, if you wish to search for any of these orbs or get any more information about ones that might be out there that I do not have word of, please. Oh,
What do you know of this white one?
that one stands in a ruin. Was one of the old bastions against the barony before the cataclysm that brought the storms. An old castle destroyed. It is where Chilling Doom rest and made his lair many decades ago. The one Alexander Duma slayed.
One more question. The Stormlands, it's traversable?
Yes, very uncomfortable. And in places the rains will create terrain that is almost impassable, sleep almost impossible, and in a roving tornadoes. It is just weather that cannot be lived in. No structure really other than the best stonework has managed to stand against it, and even that falls apart as the years go by. It's just a raging hurricane in the center of our continent. Sort of like in game speak, you'll have limited vision, half movement speed going through it. Like your travel time will be cut in half.
Certain amount of time you're in it, you get exhaustion type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your travel days are going to get like, if you want to avoid the exhaustion, you're going to really only travel like 4 hours a day. Horses are not helpful.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
have a tiny
like
hut. You know?
like, yeah, you guys kind of take that sleep one and go, we can deal with that. It's the actual traversal that's going to be pretty obnoxious. But that's how you keep two very powerful nations on either side of their continent, is you put almost impossible to traverse land between them. And Iknath actually turns to Conversion and Velran, and he goes, and I'm sorry to tell you, there is no Underdark that we know of to get between the Barony and Solnar. Else war would have raged endlessly. We are actually completely unaware of any Underdark tunnels beneath our continent.
Interesting. But considering the nature of this continent, I'm not very surprised by that.
You know, both of you, Velran can say that he's never heard of a major drow city this far east. And both of you could probably surmise that as powerful as Solnar is, and how much they fear the barony, to assume how much power the barony has, that long ago any Underdark was either sealed away or conquered, or both.
Are there Solnarian drow?
There are some darker skinned elven Asimar, yes. But many generations have passed since the last one, and as I'm sure you're aware, this is not the only place Asimar are born, and sometimes just the touch of the divine will create one. So there's always a chance that somewhere in the history of the Drow people, they talk to a higher deity. and their child or themselves were infused with divine blood and found themselves a better home here in Solmar. These are all possibilities.
All right. Well, these are some interesting options.
Yes, if you wish to head out on another venture to get me an orb, I would be very grateful. I, of course, will begin talking to the heads of the academy to lessen the surprise they might feel upon a letter of recommendation from me. It will be a while before Balantar sees the halls, but I am confident that if you continue on the path you guys have begun to tread, the city will see the worth you have brought.
Do you have like a My First spell book he could practice with? I think he's about to level up above table.
No. I think I have after this one 2 more games.
Okay.
But yeah, he's been
No.
training as well. Like he's been reading stuff.
No, I don't. He stares at Eddie. I have no such thing. There are no baby's first spells.
Are there any scrolls that a toddler could use?
Above table, all right? Above table. It is crazy to me that you would have a society with magic in it and you wouldn't have magic designed for children. All right?
Magic
How
is
do you
dangerous.
how do you even know? Here's the thing.
Magic is dangerous. We have
How
a
do you even-
society with weapons. How is it
How
we
do you
have
even-
no children weapons?
Here's the thing. People do give weapons to children. All right? That is a thing that happens, first of all. Do you just become like how old are you when you cast your first spell?
I think it's like Pokemon. You get to be 10.
10? 10 you say?
I think it's Pokemon.
You
Do you
turn
give
10,
people
the old
hide it
man
like
from your village
12
shows up.
The
from-
world is
So
dangerous.
when you're 10, you just hand out the super dangerous magic to kids. You don't give them like some.
No,
crafty
I think
weapon.
so. Like in the Elysian Empire, when you turn 10 or 12, I'm not hard on the age. At least so. This is how it works in the Elysian Empire, which I've better fleshed out how the magic system works. The like magic
Mhm,
society.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
A person comes to the village once a year. All of the 10 or 12-year-olds gather, and they're all tested to see how they're tested for midichlorians, essentially.
His midichlorian count.
And whoever passes the
Gosh.
test and has an arcane ability is brought to the Elysian Academy for magic. And those that survive the academy become William's, town burgermeisters and ambassadors to other nations and generals and his army. They're all taught in necromancy. It's not like an 8 magic school. It is a 1 magic school.
What is the Nerf gun equivalent of magic in the D&D world?
Wand of
Or
Smiles.
in this world?
A wand of smiles. Yeah.
A non-magical person that says they're a magician.
Yeah.
Or
Is
like
this
a
your
wand of
card?
enemy detection.
What's the first thing that
sling.
they teach at magic school, right? What's the very first thing? Like, first we're going to...
Prestidigitation.
At
First
Williams, it is
Not
a
Williams.
it
Just
is
like
a cantrip
anywhere.
called hand cramp.
Enunciation. It's
like-
Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Yeah, but like here it would be prestidigitation probably.
Create a ball of light. Just illuminates.
That's
or
dancing
like
lights. Those are cantrips, David. But like
Alright,
I think what you're stuck on is why isn't this happening earlier? And my reasoning is because it's not, because that's not how the society functions.
this
Here's
is
what we need. We need to
begging
find
the
an
question.
ancient
Alright.
deity for your parrot to pledge itself to.
Yeah, you need a warlock.
level to level 1.
I'll do it. All right. That's Eddie.
Okay.
Eddie is good with that goal.
New rule for experience. If the parrot kills something, we will look up the experience and it gets the experience. And once it hits level 1, we'll circle back to this.
There we go.
All right. Eddie goes to the blacksmith. He's like, I need a small, sharp instrument, right? That my parrot can hold and stab someone with. And I need, like, I'm thinking, like, have you seen those Roombas with syringes on them and the syringes labeled AIDS?
No.
That's what Eddie needs.
What the fuck?
What are you,
Claymore
where are you
Roomba.
going? It's called a dagger.
Yeah.
What I will do is
poison
he
dagger.
will hand you a whetstone knife, and he will point at your parrot's plate armor that has like the flappy knighthood, and he goes, "Sharpen that."
Cool. Got it. I'm gonna turn the parrot into a killing machine.
And now instead of
you
dealing 1 - 1 damage for a minimum of 1, you can deal a D4 -1 damage with your
a
parrot.
D4 -1
For a
That's
minimum
damage.
for a minimum of 1.
All right. Next level, I want to use the TM false swipe and teach it to Eddie so he can prepare things for his bird.
Okay. Anyways, any questions for Icknath? Eddie just stands up after a philosophical discussion with Icknath about society beginning to teach magic to children, and goes to the blacksmith, who sells him a whetstone knife for like a gold piece. Anything you guys would like to say to Icknath?
What can you tell us about the blue one?
The blue one, the one up on the island to the north, right?
Yes.
That one is the most obvious, in my opinion. Sailors around the continent can spot a snowy island, and at the center is a raging volcano that hasn't stopped in living memory. The snow doesn't melt on that island, even though a lava river cuts it in half.
Somewhere's on the island, though, is one of the stones.
Based on the climate, it is an icy ocean. Like it's icebreaker ships that go up there. I assume that the orb is in the volcano. That the volcano is the orb's doing, not the snow.
Our ship would not make it.
If you came from the Elysian Empire through the destroyed land bridge, no, your ship's made for tropical climates. The farther you go north, the more likely you are to see ice flows.
You're saying you said this twice now, land bridge.
Yeah, so I remember saying it months, like for us it was months ago. The island chains you guys hopped through was once a land bridge that connected the two continents.
Okay.
And has in another, either the same thing that started the Stormlands or another magical cataclysm or a natural cataclysm. That like land bridge was shattered and water flooded in, and the islands are the pieces of land that remain.
All right.
So Icknath just has the knowledge that occurred.
Okay. Well, these are some interesting things to ponder.
With a wave of his hand, the table fades back away. The conjured table fades away. And he goes, well, I'm going to study the one you brought me today. If you do plan to leave for in pursuit of one of these, please come and let us know so that we will be on the lookout for your return.
That
Indeed.
orb you have, it corrupted a high druid of Melora. Be careful with it.
I'm sure it did, based off of the voice that I heard upon touching it instantly. I'm unclear. This is the first orb I've had in my hands. I think it might be the psyche of the Archmage that channeled the spell. It's many texts say it was one wizard. Many other texts say it was 12 separate wizards. I'm curious how fractured this psyche is, and I plan to do some experiments and find out for myself.
Well, it's not very nice, I'll tell you that.
No, I expect it not be after thousands of years being locked inside of a circle. Have a good day now. He sort of like flies back up to his little area. You guys all leave Arcane Minded, unless you have something else you'd like to do.
I'm all set.
Okay. You find Eddie coming back with a whetstone knife in one hand and explaining to his parrot how to stab people with its beak. What would you guys like to do? Trusk takes his new gear and walks back to the boat. Says he'll see you guys later. Walks back to the boat.
You might want to clean the stardust out of the crevices.
Waves his hand at you as like from behind. You know, like yeah. Hand wave.
Let's grab a bite to eat and think about what our options are.
You guys walk up to the goblins where they're still eating. They've got they're sharing a bowl of frog legs, sautéed in some sort of sauce. And Klein is like, I got enough for everybody. Do you want some?
I'm okay, but thank you.
Carney, try some. I think you'll like it, Carney.
I try some.
You know, they were like sauteed in some like garlic sauce, some like white garlic sauce. And there's not a lot of meat on the bones. It's kind of chewy. It was okay. Kind of like oyster a little bit. It's easy enough to find food in the trade center. You know, every third tent is some sort of different food place. You can find meats, you can find veggies, you can find teas, coffees, liquors, pastries. Easy enough if everybody wants to just sort of like mark off half a silver to a gold, depending on how well you want your meal to be.
I don't eat.
Right ahead.
I'm gonna refill the bag. I'm gonna put 20 berries in the parrot's bag.
Okay. It has 20 berries in the parrot's little pouch. Little Hagrid sack. All right. You guys reconvene with your various foods. What would you guys like to do? Flash, whose mic's open?
Who would have Japanese sounds?
I'd say there's only one person
I can't
here that
I'm
is
so
Japanese
used to it.
TV.
I'm so used to it. Didn't notice it was Japanese. It was just sound to me.
Shodi got home and she turned on the TV, and that's what it is.
That's that. Right. So what do you guys want to do next?
Well, I think that's what we're about to have a chat.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was me sort of like pushing you into the chat.
Let's do a break.
Yeah, let's do a break by the lake that is the ocean.
Ocean Lake break.
Ocean Lake break. Fiend or bad?
Be sent, dude.
Okay. Convergent, you wanted to talk to Narvos.
I have a question, Narvos.
Yes.
Sorry, we're sitting around in the like I assume like the food court area
Yeah.
of that. So I wouldn't have been using that name. Sorry. Starboy, I wanted to ask you something. You're familiar with this. This story about Alexander Dumas and the dragon that he defeated and he slew. Was there many witnesses to it? Somebody who might be able to tell us what the area was like.
The story is that Alexander Dumas went out with his adventuring party, made up of fellow adventurers from the academies, the two academies. There was a couple mages, a couple other sort of martial types, and that there were several casualties. The Alexander Dumas survived. One of the wizards survived and is probably a teacher at the academy. And one of their clerics survived, though just barely, and was crippled in the attack, and is a cleric of the Raven Queen. The death cleric. Grave cleric, death cleric.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I don't know if it makes a difference. I rolled a nat 20 on history. So,
yeah, I mean,
basically that.
Yeah.
All right.
And with a nat 20, I will tell you that this was a party of 8. There were 5 casualties. And with a natural 20, I will also say that she used her 1 resurrection to bring back Alexander Dumas.
The cleric of the Raven Queen.
Yeah, the cleric had expended many spell slots and had held 1 slot in sort of like their back pocket, and essentially had to choose which one of her dead friends on the ground to bring back.
She made the right choice, probably, maybe. I don't know.
It's never been known. Many of the families assume that she chose Alexander Dumas as he was at the time the heir of House Dumas. It was like a seniority thing.
All right. Talking with them probably would not be such a great idea.
They are some of the most powerful, like Narvos would know this, they're some of the most powerful and influential people in the city.
Do you think they didn't slay the dragon?
Oh no, I have no question that they did. Not at all. That's. I was more curious. What can they tell us about the landscape? The corruption that will be around the area?
Right, like what the orb is doing to it.
Yes. All right.
I mean, with a natural 20 history check, I would say Narvos, it would have been like one of Narvos's favorite bedtime stories. The like story of the slaying of Chilling Doom. You know, there was a little picture book made about it. And one thing after like all the talks about the orbs that probably would come to mind for Narvos is the fact that this white dragon was able to charm people. That the story goes that the martial, the two sort of like warrior types, fighter types, turned on the rest of the party and killed the other cleric and the other wizard right at the start, which has always been a sort of like question among scholars about Chilling Doom, and like was he a experiment of like mind flayers? Was he actually a transfigured other creature turned into a white dragon? I think that's what a natural 20 will get you.
Or was he just corrupted by an orb?
That would make sense. All right.
What makes us think that Dumas did not find it and bring it back himself?
They limped back home.
So they didn't loot?
They didn't loot. No, there was a wizard, a cleric, and a 1 health fighter.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Like a cleric that was crippled, like with so Narvos would know that cleric had 1 leg and 1 arm, and like most of the side of her face was torn away. The wizard is really the only guy who got out unscathed, and that's because he was like an artillery mage, just chucking fireballs from the back. Disintegrates. You know, he's a what's that school of magic? Starts with an E.
Evoker.
He was an evoker. He was an evocation mage. He was literally the artillery mage.
You guys go. I'll be back here.
So like, possibly he gathered some things, but like in the courtroom, in like you know, not. He's a teacher at the academy. He's not like living it up somewhere, you know?
Yeah, I got you.
So there's potentially an entire dragon horde just sitting there.
And with only state-run adventuring groups, it's not like anybody's gone out like, hey, I know that's out there. I'm going to go get it. You can't leave the city without the okay of the city itself.
Yeah.
So you guys think 5,000 platinum's a lot, huh?
Oh no.
But here's the thing. With conversion, I think you're probably the most politically savvy. If Shelter Town and whoever that man is who's running Shelter Town knows, there might be a chance that it has already been looted by Shelter Town. That is completely up to finding out, but you know, it all just depends on how widespread that story is. Is it just a Solnar story? Has it made it to the store to the Shelter Town? Has it made it to Fleshburg? You know,
If it's 20 odd years ago.
This happened about like 40 years ago.
Okay, 40 years ago. I would expect most people have heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
A dragon being slain is usually big news.
That's a big deal, yeah.
Let's go see what's left of the dragon horde. It's our official story.
Cool. Do you guys plan to go back into Ichnath's to tell him that today?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys have your lunch. You head back to Arcane Minded. And you walk in. Cindy's like, oh, hello. Back so soon? Did you forget something? I didn't see any of your belongings laying around.
Oh, no. We simply wish to let Ichnath know what our intention is.
Oh, I will let him know. And she runs upstairs, and mere seconds later, Ichnath floats down from his half, and you see Cindy go back down the spiral stairs back to her thing, and he goes, I hadn't even written my letter to the Academy on Balantar's behalf, and you have already decided to go out on an adventure. Splendid. Now, which one do you plan to tackle first?
The white one.
Ah. The former lair of Chilling Doom.
Indeed.
It's the one I have the most information on. Have a seat. And he waves his hand and conjures seats for you all. That ruin was on the very outskirts of what Solnar used to claim for territory before the calamity. The ruin is a well-built, well-structured fort. Several curtain walls, 2 layers of curtain walls. It was heavily battered in Chilling Doom's battle with Alexander Dumas and his party. Could be the home of many goblinoid, or truly could be the furthest outpost of the Barony of Flesh at this point. I have no real information on it, as our scouts stop about... I do. Stop about 100 miles short of it.
So I assume that line on the map is where the scouts go.
Yeah. Yep. Generally, it's generally the accepted barrier of terrain that Solnar is capable of holding down. The storm starts probably more like here, but like if they wait for demons to come out of the storm, it's probably too late.
Yep.
So they've pushed a border as far into the storm as they possibly can. He tells you how Chilling Doom attacked the walls, and at one point attempted to make a deal with Solnar for payment to leave the city alone. Every 10 years, the city would pay a bribe to the dragon, and they would leave it outside the walls. He would fly over, take it, and fly back to his home. And eventually, Alexander Dumas promised he would return with the dragon's head, or not return at all. And instead of his head, he returned with but a tooth. But the Solnar deemed it good enough. When he saw just how beaten and bloody his party was and how much he had lost. When you essentially exude a zone of truth and a man says, I killed that dragon, you believe them.
Yeah, I would do it.
So he doesn't know what might reside there. There are other dragons on this continent. Some range from wormlings to ancient dragons. I believe there's a dragon up in that volcano, and there is 100% a black dragon somewhere in the Barony of Flesh that has held sway for quite a while. There are probably others. There's probably some dragons in some sort of shape-shifted mode in this city and in Fleshburg and in Sheltertown. It's hard to tell.
Sheltertown, what are the numbers like?
It varies. They suffer calamities more than most. I think on average they hold about 15,000 in their walls.
Most being just normal people, yeah.
That's where I would say those of other nations that have sought a home away from the prying eyes of their respective places has found a home in Sheltertown. And also the monsters that are even repulsed by the actions of the barony, but find the eyes of Solnar to be a bit too scrutinizing, find homes in Sheltertown. much like your goblin friends, you'll find goblinoids and gnolls, orcs of the that used to call the lands that are now the Stormlands their home, that are now uninhabitable. The type of town Shelter Town is.
Let's see.
Though I do know the man who Shelter Town technically on paper has no ruler, but there is a man who calls the shots, and he's a human. If he's anything else, it's hard to tell, but he is a very long-lived human. If he has any devil, demon, or angel blood in him, he hides it well.
Interesting. Shelter Town is. I had been under the impression, apparently wrongly so, that Shelter Town was an outpost of Solnar.
No, it was founded after the Cataclysm. It is much where Solnar was built outside in. Sheltertown was built inside out. One many-storied building that is a living abode and casino of sorts for hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals. I think some mage built it. It is much larger on the inside than out. I've only been 2 or 3 times. But that was the first building of Sheltertown. At least that is what I've come to know. It was built long before I was born. And the many shacks, huts, even the many layers of walls. It isn't a single massive wall that protects Sheltertown from any possible attackers, though their walls are truly the storm. There are small, maybe about 15-foot barricades that create different districts and like protect each district from other districts attacking districts, or possibly an attack from the barony, though that has not happened for many years. Only once, when I was a youth. Solnar has never attacked Sheltertown. We see no need to. That they are, in fact, our first true line of defense against the barony, that if they fall, we will hear of it and be able to prepare.
Interesting. All right. Enough about Shelter Town. Perhaps another day we can just talk more. I don't suppose you have a more detailed map that shows this location of these ruins.
I, as Sean, don't have another map for him. No. He has like an old map that he can't give to you, but he like takes like 5-10 minutes, finds it in his stuff, and rolls it out to show you, which shows like the old empire, which has like the lines, instead of this, are essentially this, with this half being Solnar and this half being the barony. And there's a bunch of forts and like one road that leads to a fort like right here. So like a fort that like winds like this. That's the old King's Road. There's like fort up here. Fort. But nothing like more than you really knew already, that there's one main road that like cut west to east, and like any sort of branching ones were made by farmers themselves. Like they just literally beat down with their own feet and donkeys and horses a dirt road that connected to the King's Road.
Okay. But so this place being an old fort is going to be right on the King's Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Most of the forts are right on the King's Road to facilitate supplies. There are a few at like crucial chokes. Like I did make a topography map at one point, but like I didn't save it. There are mountain ranges here. So like the one that was down here had like there's like a mountain and a fort right in the middle of it. Like right at like, so like attackers from the barony would come in, they'd enter the valley, and then at the top of the valley over here was the fort, so that anybody trying to get through would get 300 in.
The vagina.
Okay.
All right.
So there are like probably about 3 of those scattered around the old empire. But there's probably about like half a dozen old forts that are like Ignatz will tell you, like he'll point to one of them and be like, that one's haunted by ghosts, I would avoid it. You know, that one is just empty and is sometimes used by bandits. Stuff like that.
Okay.
What if we go to the military district and suggest that we take this fort back with them?
I don't think they'll like that idea.
Yeah, Ignatz sort of like furrows his brows and shakes his head.
It's right on the edge of where they're pushing the scouts, right?
If what they've told us before about the history, the last great battle was because Solnar was expanding outside of the
Right. You're right.
There hasn't been an attempt to fortify any mainland piece in decades. We hold several outposts on a couple of our satellite islands, but those are 10 to 12 soldiers holding a wood fort.
Or an observation outpost, not a military outpost.
Indeed.
All right. I think it'll probably be a couple of days for us to get supplies and.
Yes, that's the trip you plan on taking will take you the better part of a week, probably a bit more than a week to get to the edge of Solnar, and then honestly maybe a week more to make it through to the ruins of the fort.
Risky.
Yep.
You'll be paying this time, yeah?
With an eyebrow raise, he goes, what would be your rates?
Captain?
He seems more amused by this concept than like I can't think of the word.
I don't know what the value of one of these orbs would be, so I am not particularly good at choosing such a thing.
I mean, if you take one of these orbs and never return, I don't mean to threaten you, but all that means is you'd have a target on your back. Not just by me, but powerful wizards across the globe. Now, what I can pay you for are the extra things you might find in the Horde. Anything you bring back, happy to take off your hands. And don't forget, I'm getting your friend Balantar into our academy.
Yes.
Not at all forgotten.
These wizards create spells, like write new spells.
Yeah,
That's how all spells are made.
that's how all spells are
Oh.
made.
Eddie has a request for a spell. Shouldn't be very complicated. Eddie wants a spell that just like creates some, not even a lot, just like a tiny amount of sparks, right?
That's called sparks.
No, you're thinking too many sparks. All right, you're thinking too many sparks. I'm saying it doesn't even do damage. So few sparks. All right.
There's a such thing as like flint.
Yeah, something like flint, but it's actually magic, and you use like a verbal component to get it done, right? You would almost only teach this spell to children.
Or parents.
Okay, he creates sparks. He literally just shakes his hand and goes, it's a spell called Prestidigitation. He just creates a shower of sparks.
Amazing. And he writes everything about this down. He writes down like the exact moment, the like motions Ignat does. He writes down the verbal components. He writes down absolutely everything. And he's gonna, on this trip, he's gonna be teaching the parrot to do this.
You're going to be so disappointed when that doesn't work.
We'll see. We'll have to roll some dice, I imagine.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's literally one of the things Prestidigitation can do, which is taught to 10-year-olds when they join the academy.
Great. I imagine my parrot's probably around 10 years old. I don't think it's like a 5-year-old parrot. It's probably got some years on it. They live to be 80 after all.
Balantar does exactly what he did. Casting Prestidigitation.
Do you have Prestidigitation?
Oh wait, it's Thaumaturgy. Damn it! I thought I had Prestidigitation. It's the Thaumaturgy from. No.
You just sort of like.
I make the sound of it.
Yeah. Your bird can't learn this spell. He physically can't do it. He is too stupid. The bird has an intelligence of 8.
Wow.
Your bird is too dumb.
Are there rings of intelligence?
There are headbands of intelligence.
Cool.
Which will make the bird smarter than you. I think that would make the bird I think you all dump statted in. So I think that would make the bird the smartest creature
100%.
in your party.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Just so you know.
I'm not opposed to this, by the way. I would love to find one of those.
He has none of them. He has none of them.
Also, David, look into a spell called Awaken and hope that we find like some druid that's really nice someday.
Yeah, one that isn't corrupted by an orb. Right, yeah. To be honest, I think, your bird can't actually learn any class. Your bird from what I can tell, your bird would be like what I call when I make a character. He's going to be a farmer now. He thought about being an adventurer and decided, no, I'm a farmhand.
They didn't even give the bird a 13 in charisma.
No, his best one is con,
Jeez.
which doesn't really help him.
Oh, that does not. Unless you want a barbarian. Unless you want
But
a
like
barbarian
his
parrot.
strength is 3, so he can't even be a barbarian.
I
Oh.
think that the bird stat block is the parrot stat block is a little bit off, if you ask me. Because in real life, parrots are quite smart. They can use tools.
And
and
charismatic, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
smart and charismatic. So I think this is someone who's seen like a couple blue jays fly around and think blue, that's colorful, parrots
That's a
are
bird. I've
colorful,
seen
they're probably
birds.
about the same.
Most of the parrots
Badge.
that I meet can cast fireball. I'm just saying.
Here, I found a parent 3.5e, and it has 14 decks. So it
What
could
about-
be a rogue. It could have a
what about a,
rogue
like,
parrot.
magic spells for dummies, but for
14
parrots.
That's what Eddie's been asking for like ever now.
Yeah.
Basically.
But he keeps asking for kids, and obviously
Yeah.
it's not that edition. It just hasn't
not
come
that
out yet.
edition,
He has to
right.
write it. Yeah.
Chicken soup
So,
for
but
the
it's
parrot's mage soul.
for the parrot soul. Yeah.
And soup for the parrot soul.
Yeah, and I keep telling you, that's prestige. Like, David wants something dumber than a cantrip. Every time I offer him a cantrip, he's like, no. Easier.
Can the parrot
like-
use a cantrip? Can the parrot use a cantrip?
No, because
No.
he can't
That's
learn
something
it.
dumber.
He can't learn it.
Well, the hard
He
thing is that
can't
it's like
do that.
use magic device is probably even too difficult for him because it's based on intelligence. So anything that requires magic is using a magical device.
So,
Like-
I don't care what we want to spend our money on. Can we convince these guys to make a headband of intellect small for the parrot?
I'm taking all your money for it.
The
All
way
of the
to start
money?
thinking
All
about
your
it,
money for it. All
above-
your money.
Too much money.
like above table, is something that casts on a trigger. Like, okay, someone comes with it in a certain vicinity of him, and it just goes off.
Well, that's just having a magic item. Like, that's having
or like a living weapon or something that
A
the parrot
dancing
can
sword for the parrot. Yeah.
that's more just like
Or pick up some
infusing.
levels of wizard.
We can't do
Find
that.
familiar.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah,
you can't-
yeah. You do that, Eddie. What's your intelligence?
Is let me take a look here. 11. No, 12. It's 12.
12. 12 is what you
One
need.
more?
Yeah.
Could you-
No,
Oh, is it 13?
13. Yeah, you need to put
No.
1 and 2.
He could go to a different class too, but
Yeah, Eddie's got charisma, right?
yeah. You can do like a bard.
12 charisma.
Damn it.
Bard parrot.
Wisdom.
What's your wisdom?
12.
Fuck.
Yeah, you're SOL.
The bird. So here, I
He
will.
can't do magic.
I will offer you a change of stat blocks, but we will keep the stat block that we decide right now for the parrot always, right? We either have a parrot that is, let me pull up the other one. 3 strength, 3 dex, 14 con, 8 intelligence, 4 wisdom. Oh. No, okay, so these are just moved. 3 strength, 14 dex, 8 con, 4 intelligence, 10 wisdom, 8 charisma, versus 6 strength, 14 dex, 13 con, 2 intelligence, 14 wisdom, 10 charisma.
Oh, your parrot could become a druid.
I was thinking, like get the headband of intelligence and get the parrot just smart enough to make some contract with a dark deity or whatever and make it a warlock.
All right.
Warlocks are charisma based.
As soon as Eddie personally saves up 50,000 gold, then we'll do it.
All right. Or maybe we'll find one in the wild.
Maybe,
We'll see.
Maybe,
We'll
yeah,
see.
it'll shrink down when we go to put it on.
I think
It will. It's
in
an
that
attuned
case,
Yeah.
In that case, I'm gonna need the parrot with the higher charisma, and we'll rely on the headband of intelligence to get the intelligence up high enough to make this work.
It's funny because at this point, you might as well just find someone who can cast that spell and either use a wish spell or, like, I don't know, true polymorph lasts forever. Basically, a permanent polymorph, and just polymorph them into a parrot.
This actually isn't a very expensive. This is actually only why is this only an uncommon item?
Because it's only 19 intelligence, and if your build includes intelligence, you already have that.
And
Right?
it uses an attunement slot.
Yeah.
If it didn't, it could be higher.
Okay, so it's not even an expensive item, right? It's just a cheap thing.
Not
It's
expensive,
not
but
a
it could be
cheap
rare.
thing, but
I mean, it only costs like 500. Like literally, by the book, it costs 500 gold to make. So let's call it 1,000. Yeah, it's only uncommon. I've literally been lowballing you guys this whole time. Like, so it's uncommon is 500. Wow, rare is 5,000. Very rare is 50,000, and then legendary is 500,000.
oh, get a
Eddie
get
will
a
just save
headband
up
for the
the 1,000 gold, and there,
we could,
that'll be it.
we could cover that now, yeah.
Sean is sweating right now. We don't have to do it now.
No, here's the thing. And I've warned you about this out of game before. You start stacking things on this bird, I'm going to start remembering when you get put into an AoE.
Yeah.
I'm going to cook your bird because you refuse to leave it behind. It's the thing with pets. It's the thing with pets in D&D games is, like, I have to play both the bad guy in every scenario because, like, man, the bird, I don't want the bird to die, but if you make the bird a tool in combat, I'm
The bird will
forced
die.
I'm forced to remember that it's there. You know, it's not that I'm going to, like, fireball you specifically to cook the bird, but say you fight a dragon, your bird's dead. Like, just the moment combat starts, you better say goodbye to it.
I feel like this next.
That's why we don't have to do it now. We'll just, like, gradually add stats to the bird until you forget about it. It will be good. All right, let's keep going.
Like, his next character should obviously be a Beastmaster Ranger because it's, like, perfect for. Because a lot of the spells, once you get, I forget what level it is, 5, 7, something like that, they also target your pet as well.
Yeah, I haven't read. Is this that like the revised Beastmaster? I never actually read it.
It's a high level, so it's either 7, 10, something like that.
I do know Brad talks good things about the revised Beastmaster.
Yeah, the revised is actually really pretty good. It's a little too good, but whatever.
Right. So,
like
did you buy that headband? Did you buy that headband?
No, we're not. But I'll look for it later. I'll save it. Get it myself.
Okay. Anything else tonight, guys? Anything else? We're just gonna. I think that's where we're gonna end it with, like, the plan to, like. Well, we're gonna actually, before we end, we're gonna do supplies. Yeah, that's what I want.
So.
I want to be out.
So we can start the game off next week, heading right up.
Yeah.
I
what kind of
very
supplies
much
do you want?
can cover food almost always. Let's just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think this is more specialty stuff. Like, how much rope you guys got? Got any grappling hooks?
Yes, we have
How
2
many-
and 2 ropes.
You know, maybe you want more rope.
Eddie's got nets. He's got his chain, and Eddie can also do a little 30-foot teleport.
I'm pretty sure you also have one of the grappling hooks on a really good rope.
Anything else? I know Chad got the animated weapon spell, right? No, it just animate objects, right?
Oh yeah, you might want to pick up some ball bearings or whatever you Look at what
Whatever you
size you
want.
want and get
Yeah.
something
What
for
did I
that.
get?
You said
So
you got
you-
animate objects, right?
as a spell.
Did I? Was that last week?
I think you
Let me
said
look.
that. Yeah.
David, we're listening to
As a
Japanese
forge
commercials again.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think as a forge cleric, you get in.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Yes, I did. Yep, you're right.
So what size of object do you? I think just for simplicity's sake, unless
So
otherwise.
you can do 10 objects. Medium objects count as 2, and those are big. So
like, how big do you want objects to be? Do you want 10 tiny things that will like flood the board? Do you want 2 human-sized things?
well, it would be 5 human-sized things.
5 human-sized.
You would need to keep them in like my bag.
Yeah, that's sort of like.
I think
So-
10 small things would be great.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah, I mean,
you
that
can
works.
have like a belt of like orbs or something.
Mm.
Like
Right.
Here's the thing, he is small. The goblins are small. Like he still can't like carry around
you're right.
things.
Yeah.
So I guess really the only things you can get are like tiny ball bearings.
The Infinity
Yeah.
Belt.
I'm looking at the thing. A tiny would be nice.
It
I
has the
mean,
highest
they're
AC.
small, but it has the highest AC. Yeah.
They hit for the least amount. But you
And
have
you're
10
gonna
of
need
them.
to like roll
Yeah.
in the chat like a whole bunch. So just something to think about. Maybe
Tiny-
we'll circle back to
You
that.
should get hammers. You should get 10 hammers.
Yeah.
10 tiny hammers.
That would be, I
Do you
mean,
want to?
that would be tiny size technically, because this is like in terms of people size, you know. So
Do you want to crush them with big things or do death by 1,000 bonks?
So here's the thing. If you want bigger things, which means sort of like less work on your end, you just have to pay attention to my explanations of the environment. Or ask
Barrels and shit.
questions. Or ask questions, be like, hey, what objects are around? And that's sort of like on you when you are like, I could be casting this right now to be like, hey, what's around? Or you can do the one that is much more sort of micro intensive for you, which is you get 10 hammers around your waist or a bag of ball bearings, and you just animate 10 of those, and that means you have 10 attack rolls. And when like a AoE goes out, you have 10 saving throws to do.
So if these things go away, I just lose them and I have to get new ones.
Well,
Correct.
Is that what?
I don't know if the
Yeah.
object, no, it reverts to its original form when it dies.
Depending on how it is
You're
destroyed.
right.
Right. Okay. Depends.
I
I
know
guess
that-
depends on what it is. So, and this doesn't even have to be what I'm carrying. This can be anything in
Anything
the world,
around
right?
you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have to really have anything.
Exactly. That's
I can
option
ask you,
A.
hey, is there gravel on the ground? Yes. Okay. I want 10 rocks or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And Craig has
Yeah,
a bag of ball bearings on his hip all the time.
that is option A. Option B is more micro and you intensive, where you have your own things on you, which makes it so you can plan what you're doing kind of better, but puts way more weight on your shoulders.
Okay. Okay.
Like,
What if I, here we go. Here's something. What if so you're calling me a small creature?
you are a small dwarves
small-
and goblins are small
I think
creatures.
dwarves
So,
are
like-
medium.
Are they
technically.
medium now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dwarves are considered medium, but
Oh, well,
goblins are
like-
considered small.
Yeah.
So
So
the
is it-
goblins are small.
Is it detrimental to me if I carried a small object?
I think you can only carry one small object on you.
That's
Without
fine.
reducing your speed. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I was thinking, like, what if I had like just carried one small? So that's what I'm thinking is, what could I carry one of, the largest one of? So could I carry 2 small objects?
No.
Well,
Okay,
your
and that's where we're
shield,
back.
your shield count as a small object, I think.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Captain America my shield around.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. That gives me things to think about. Well, I was thinking of like maybe like a totem of some sort, but
Yeah, like a Tauren totem, I think
yeah,
would also
yeah.
be a small object.
I wonder, like, if you could think about trying to, like, what would that, like, Power Rangers, like, piece all the things together, so you, like, make not like a suit
like a
of armor,
Megazord. Yeah.
yeah, like, this is the leg and it operates this blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's a
I
little
got
bit
things.
too
I'll think
intense.
about it, and I'll read about some stuff.
I think those are, and also don't forget your ability to sort of make whatever you want with your channel divinity.
That's true. I could
Yeah.
also just
That takes
do
time
something
and
before we
metal.
go into battle. It takes an hour.
Right.
It does,
one
but
ob-
like
for
you
one
guys have
object.
plenty of hours of sort of like
Right.
time.
If we stop and rest, or if I'm taking watch somewhere, I can use my hour watch to make something that hour or something. So
Just you have a lot of sort of creativity, and just take some time, think about it, circle back.
Cool.
Anybody else? Anybody else got sort of like supplies they want to pick up before going out of Solnar?
Can I go buy some poison? Or is that like a whole thing?
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it then.
Yeah,
Man, I
Dylan,
love poison. It's so good, guys.
You got while you're out there, maybe you'll find a creature with poison.
Let's hope. I got good survival.
Yeah, but like going down and they're gonna like try and get you to do a job for them.
Right.
They're not just
Like,
gonna
God,
sell
I
it
just
to
want the wyvern
you.
poison, please.
Like you guys like delivered that package and then never returned, so like you kind of got negative
feedback on our
reputation.
Yelp review. Yeah.
Yeah, like you did a good job and they offered you a job. Like they gave you the callback and then you never returned the callback, Anybody else? Anybody else? Last call. Captain, any thoughts on supplies?
Maybe maybe some healing potions.
Okay. Iknath and Cindy have been able to make. I already handed out a bunch. I'd say they probably have one of each currently. Like you bought out their stock last time. So like there's one superior, one greater, and one normal. So it's
Those times Iknath gave us, that was by foot, the 2 weeks? Or was he thinking
Yes.
we were going to take a cart and horses or something? Okay.
That was by foot. I reserve the right to next week tell you I was wrong on that, by the way. Once I go look up the actual distance travels stuff.
Magic.
Yeah.
It probably will be wrong.
Iknath has never actually really left on one of these adventures. He has no real good bearing of he can teleport.
How did he go to the casino place? Oh, he teleported.
He can teleport there.
When you said living tower, I pictured Howl's Moving Castle, and I was like, oh, tight.
No, it's not. It's more like I sort of like peek behind the curtain. It's more. I have designed that place more like what's it called? The hotel from John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
No business happens on property is the type of beat, which is why like so many individuals are aware of Sheltertown. It's literally like surrounded by a stage 5 hurricane. So like, not many foot traffic. Cool. 500, 250, 50, 800 gold for the 3 potions.
Okay. Done.
Thumbs up. Okay.
Should we bring the battering ram?
That might actually find use.
Yes.
That I'm not gonna lie.
It's gonna take up a good chunk of my back. Not easy to pull out either. Take a lot of time. That's alright, I'll grab it. If you'll help me, Clarny.
Yeah, I can animate the shit out of that.
Oh, yeah, get it right in there. Make it dance.
Super bonker.
Wild.
2 birds, 1 bonker.
You know, you could just get like, you know, a tea serving set and, you know, candelabra, a broom, like all kinds of household stuff
You're right.
to animate.
Yeah, like
animate.
like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, that's no.
Is
I
that what you're
wasn't
going
thinking
for?
about
Fantasia?
Fuck,
You sure that?
damn it, what's wrong with
Yes.
Beauty and the
Oh,
Beast?
Beauty and the Beast.
Our
Okay.
guest
Yeah.
put our service to the test.
We could actually get that Eden without a head out of the bottom of our ship, probably. You could have
Yeah.
it walk out. You know, the stone Eden down there.
Yeah, taxidermy counts, right? Mm?
It's an object,
Yeah.
right?
He could take that object out now, like that Etten, that the head. I'm pretty sure
The head's attached to the front of the ship. And
Yeah.
the body's in the bottom.
the cook broke the head off so that the board so that the floors could be repaired, but the Etten itself was too heavy for anybody to move.
Thick.
So probably, I just don't think Clarny tried to move it, because I think Clarny and now Eddie
and
could
Eddie could
move
pick it up together. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways,
Oh man, we have
Okay.
fun here.
That's all we do.
I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm done.
I'm done.
DM done. DM take nap.
nothing.
Like it,
Like
and all that.
Any questions, comments, queries, concerns before we call it a night?
You said you were done.
Yeah, but I can still answer those things.
Oh, okay. Can you tell
It's
me
more that
about
I just don't have more like
Fleshberg?
things. You want more information about Fleshberg? Do you want it like as Nick or as Craig?
Neither.
What?
I'm just fucking with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you make a quick like investigation check and like
No,
ask
I'll
around?
learn about Fleshberg later. When we invade
A
it
list of
after we
spells
kill
for
William.
Fleshberg. What's that, Eddie?
I have a list of spells for parrots. Just
Yeah, it's 0.
there's 0. It's like there's a single line.
You
and
already
it's
have
like
it.
null. You know.
Yeah, you've had that
I-
list
you
your
know,
whole life,
Play
David.
a list of spells by creature, and you get to pair it, and there's just a line because there are no spells.
Look, with the stat block you picked, though, if you can get it to kill something, it can become a druid. Then it'll
Yeah.
learn
There-
spells.
Above table, there's one way that I can think of right now, and there's plenty, but there's one way. Just get your parrot to be possessed by a ghost. The ghost can
Oh, there's
have
a
magic spells,
Ghost fort.
There is a ghost for it.
and then it will
Just
be able
send the
to cast
parrot in
spells.
there screaming help.
Help me!
That'll do
Help
it.
me! Help me! And it flies out silently and lands next to Eddie, just like spectral blue eyes.
We all just start celebrating instead of like being concerned. We just
Right.
celebrate.
Hey,
The
ghost
ghost
parrot.
inside the parrot is like flawless job.
It'll be like
They
the
know nothing.
family from Pet Cemetery where the parrot just kills stuff, and he's like, "Oh, isn't it pretty? It's just so
Yeah.
great." Like, but it's like dead and evil, and I love this parrot now.
Oh man.
You have many ways, many avenues.
Careful with ghosts,
Great
though.
spells.
Casey made us fight ghost horses, and then he told me later, he's like, dude, if those possessed you, it would have been like forever. Until somebody did grace and restoration. I'm like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was so hoping it's gonna happen. Anyway,
The
we're just
ghost of a